think the Nellie Gills was originally Icton's, where Mrs. Icton sold the prams, and the other side was Joe Icton's, the funeral.
Because her brought him into the world,
yes.
And he buried him.
Bought me.
And me. And me. I so bought him in.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
No.
And then of course there was the, as you say, the little shop.
Dennis
Jones.
Dennis Jones.
And his mother, Mrs. Jones.
Mrs. Jones. Yeah.
And then
but at one time wasn't there a little sweet shop there? And he moved down to the Majestic buildings. Only a little.
And he moved down to the Majestic.
Down to the Majestic buildings.
Yeah, the place.
And then you come to Red Hall's on the corner.
The corner, the chemist.
The chemist.
Yeah. And round the corner was the slaughterhouse.
Yes.
But you missed the pub. That was the most important.
Yes, the sanitation.
Yeah, that was it.
Sanitation.
In opposite was Bennett's.
Joe Bennett's was over the railway. And then coming back, because there was 5 originally in the 5 pubs originally in there.
In Lomeytown.
In Lomeytown. And then you had the house that belonged to the school.
School kids.
You said
And the school and the public toilets.
The best in Lomeytown. We're coming down then to the other side when we come to the Stewart. The Stewart was the corner one, wasn't it?
But you've got opposite the Stewart on the same side. You've got the greengrocers and the sweets.
Yeah, that's what I said. Louis Priest on the corner. On there.
Because somebody tried to tell me a while ago, I said, that was the fish and chip shop with George. I said,
George was on
the other side.
Yeah. Lomeytown Bunk.
Lomeytown Bunk.
Lomeytown
It was all Tocky Bunk. They built their air shelters.
Yes. Oh, we had to go down the air shelters, didn't we?
They made it all into air shelters during the war.
And we had to go down there. I can remember we're in the pub and we had the first air raid, and everybody
down the cellar,
down into the shelters, and of course they left the beer, didn't they? One bloke, I don't know which one, could have been anybody, stopped and he drunk a lot. That was what was left, but I don't think anybody ever left the pub again.
No. Go down the cellar.
We went down. We got down our cellar at the pub. My dad built ours in it. It was like an arch like that. And my dad made a bed for Mother and me. And that was our bed. We never went down the shelters after. They came. The people who came, the army or whatever it was from Ernest Stevens. Ernest Stevens was a Holloway factory which was over by Griffin's. And they did all what's name wear?
Enamel wear.
Saucepans and everything. And this was they had this fight. I was only a kid, but things like this stick in your mind. And they blacked their faces. And they had got that they come out with a Lomeytown Bunk. And I can remember that quite well.
Because I was told, I don't remember because it's a bit before my time, but I was told that the one what was captured, and he always said, I was captured during the war, and we wasn't captured, I was captured in the cell.
In the cell?
In the bomb?
In the sanitation, yeah.
Tell at the time, I could tell whether the bomber was laden or unladen. You could hear them coming. If they was going over to Germany and they was laden, you could hear them. Ooh. But when that's coming back, I'm quite happy. But we have sat and made himself. We had a smack of the ear hole for sitting on the backyard down Greenfield Avenue, watching the Spitfires firing at the bombers coming in.
And at night was really bad. We'd go to bed, our mum used to put me to sleep down there outside. And our dad worked nights then. I don't know what he did, or he was fire watching or what. And we went down there in the air raid shelter, and on the morning our mum went up, and Mrs. Johnson next door, he says, "It's a long air raid." I says, "What do you mean?" "It's we've been down all night." there's all clear egg on yet. I said, that was all clear, I went. Slid through the rain.
Yeah. We used to go far over from school, didn't we? When there was one.
We used to go up the side of the
Labour Exchange.
We used to go up a tunnel.
Tunnel, yeah.
We used to sing our Jim, because he wasn't called up because of his job. He was a chainmaker. They come round our avenue, because I mean, we were 7 when the war broke out,
right,
so, and they said we'd got to come out and go up into Aidenhill House, because if the bombs went off, it'd blow all our windows out.
Yes, yeah.
And Jim hadn't come in. He'd gone to the pictures to the coronet.
Coronet, oh yeah.
Right, so he hadn't come. And we refused to go without him. And our dad tipped the table up in front of the window for to stop, stop the glass. And Jim, them in Quarrybank, was all leaving, like I said. And him, they were sending him back into the White City.
Yeah.
The little.
I know.
He's our key, go and get me this and get me this. And he kept going. And he lay on his stomach and watched them take the bombs. It was the Navy that come to defuse the bombs. And he lay on his stomach in the grass watching them take them. And when they'd finished, the sailors, the people in Quarrybank, stuffed them with money down the shirts. But one hung on the Liberal Club by a parachute.
Yeah. But when we went up, I got an auntie and uncle live up Quarrybank, up Robin Hood Road.
Yeah.
Uncle Joe and Auntie Bessie.
Yeah.
And Auntie Bessie, my Auntie Bessie, all used to make a great fuss over me.
Of course.
Because he'd lost her own daughter, hadn't he?
I was born as her daughter died.
So he used to make a great fuss. And he would say to me, he'll say, go down the garden, Uncle Joe will show you something. So off I went down the garden, and I says, and Uncle Joe was a man of few words. And I said, what you got to show me, Uncle Joe? He says, what do you want to see? I said, I don't know. I said, Auntie Bessie says you've got something to show me. I got these, he says, and he got this big water barrel, big round water. He put it on it, and he pulled an incendiary bomb out. And he said, how about that? And I said, well, what happened to it? He said, put it on the floor, by the thing, and it burst into flame. He said, see, it has to be kept in water. And he picked up and stuck it back in the water. And I said, how many of them you got? He said, oh, about a dozen. But if they was to dig round, them still there, because I only bulldozed the soil on top, the clay on top. They moved somewhere because they built the British
restaurant.
Yes, in the back.
And it finished up, after finished the British restaurant, moved up to Old Hill. They got a nursery.
Yeah.
Our children went to the nursery.
Yeah, there was a nursery on top there. We went, because we lived in the pub, we never went without at all. And we'd always got a side of bacon and a ham down the cellar.
Yeah.
That was when I noticed that. I can remember going down the cellar. When
our dad growed the leeks to go in the black pudding up at, what was it made the sausage up? Baxter's. Up Brariel.
Oh yeah.
He growed all the leeks in his allotment and supplied them. I went in to work at Hammersley's at 14, learning sewing, which most girls did, but I was only very little and very thin. And my older sister says, Mum, don't make her go to work. But we'd lost our dad at the end of the war. And it's don't make her go to work, or I big enough. Mother says, gotta go. And I walked it to Hammersley's every morning. And they tore us on short time because the electric.
Yes, that's
something
right.
to do with electric.
Yes,
so from there I went to the Valeton and that was it. I stayed there. The Valeton service.
Yeah, I worked. I learned the trade at writing company at Old Hill, which was a...
You made all your men's suits for the wedding?
Bespoke tailors it was. I never wanted to do anything else. Because I never wanted to leave Lomeytown. Very much a Lomeytown person, me. I passed for the grammar school and I didn't want to go. I said, I'm not going. I want to learn. I want to sew. And they don't teach you to sew at grammar school. I want to stay at Lomeytown. And remember,
Mrs. Griffiths used.
Yes, yeah.
Miss Griffiths
Miss Griffiths.
had lost her boyfriend during the
First World War, yeah.
And her never married.
No.
And I used to take
it. Was so. But Mr. Cluett, his dad had missed her. And I'd been down there sometime, and he sent for my mother, and he said, she shouldn't be here. She shouldn't be here. She's too good for, I know I've blown my own trumpet, but she should not be here. He says, I've got you to place at Brawley Hill Grammar School. I said, I'm not going. I said, I'm not going. The bus will take, I'm not going. And anyway, I'm going to work at Writing Company, because Mother used to have her clothes made there, her suits made there. And I went with her, and I must have been only about 9, it might be younger than that. I'm coming to work here when I leave school.
So you did?
So I said, I'm going to work here when I leave school. And anyway, when it came to when we were asked at the end, Hammersley was the one that came up. And he said, and when you went into the office, and it was a lady, and she said, I wanted to be in so-and-so. And she said, Hammersley's. I said, no, I don't want to go to Hammersley's. I'm not going to Hammersley's. I've got a job. Where have you got a job? I says, Writing Company, Hilda. Oh, they haven't got any vacancies. I says, oh, I'm going to.
I've got a job.
So I've got a job. Got onto the phone, and of course they said yes, she has. She's.
I can remember making your wedding suits.
Yeah. I made men's suits, and I made little bridesmaids, and I mean I've done umpteen suits and things and whatever you see, bridesmaids, brides and what have you. But I mean, I love gents outfitting. I always made the suits.
Still live where I was born.
Oh, right, yeah.
Still in Avenue, never wanted to move.
No.
When you think about it, how many around Greenfield Avenue and around there who went to war, and never are the captain who died?
I mean, we had a force.
Clary Bryan never come back.
No, he didn't.
He died at the Japanese
well,
war.
there was 3 or 4 of them from.
And Albert, next time he was a German prisoner of war.
But the one came back, if you can remember. He lived in Silverthorne Lane, didn't he?
Jerry Allday come back.
Tommy somebody. He came back, and
Jerry Allday come back.
and he was enormous when he came back. But he come from when he was repatriated, and he come back. But they fed him up as he.
Yeah. But Richard Bloomer, he was captain.
Richard Bloomer, yeah, he was a captain.
He was captain here when he come back.
Well, he was a captain in the army, wasn't he?
But he wouldn't come no farther than the gate.
No,
he was that thin and he was bright yellow.
Yeah.
And he'd only come to the gate if he said anybody, he'd run back.
Well, how about Charlie Hall?
And Charlie Hall.
Charlie Hall was with the Chindits.
Yes.
And
always in the jungles in Burma.
And Mr.
Next time he was a prisoner in the German. He used to hide in the wardrobe. After he come back after the war, if they knocked on the door, he'd hid in the wardrobe.
Yeah. Comfort sponge.
And everybody down the avenue was in the Diddlum.
The Diddlum Club. Oh, Mrs. old lady Bloomer. Can you remember her when he used to sit round that when he used to collect the Diddlum round and if ever you misbehave and got that stick, and wallop you with it.
If you went to pay the Diddlum, you only paid it for up to Mrs. Holloway's and different ones, you know. Mrs. Humphries says, you take the money up and they give you a stick of beer.
A stick? I want a little glass.
A stick of beer. and I remember once, I shall never forget it, I got 2 lots of money to take up. I think it might have been Mrs. Bloomer's or Mrs. Humphries'. And I took the one in and I had a stick of beer. Only a little tiny glass one, it's a stick. Don't know why they call it a stick. And I went down and I get it 5 minutes. I thought, I'll take the other one in there. You know, yes, give me a crack round the ear over trying to get 2 sticks of beer.
And then Bennett's, that's where they paid the doctor's money. We used to take it there.
The doctor's,
because you had to pay the doctor's club.
Yeah.
And we used to take that into Bennett's. I used to collect it once a week in Bennett's. Because our mum would send us with the money. But our dad, because of the war, he was always very quiet man, wasn't he?
Oh, very
But he
good,
was
yeah.
always bad, and he was in and out of hospital. And if he, because there was no national health, he'd go and like the Salvation Army would give her a ticket for a week. They'd pay for a week. The church would pay for a week, and like the Chainmakers Union, they'd say, go on, we'll fund a week for you, for him to stay in hospital because he was never well.
Tibbet, and the gun site was right on the top, because our dot had a prefab.
After they built prefabs after the war.
And then when
yeah.
they started taking because we was telling them, because this bloke was there, they would have got a crowbar trying to lift the concrete slabs up, as I thought. And we turned around and said, you can't do that, mate. And he says, why? He said, well, they go down about 20 foot.
Because the guns was
Because
on
these,
there.
the big guns, and they were the big
They were the big
anti-aircraft
ones,
guns, what protected Dudley,
All
Birmingham,
of us.
Starbridge, Cradley Heath, all the way around they protected them big guns. And what the shells was, they was 20 pounders, and when they went off, they exploded in the air, a great big bang, and it was ripped shrapnel through the planes. And I remember,
Big solid to go everywhere.
they come down the avenue once, honestly I've seen it once, and they bought the big light, or what is it?
Searchlight.
The searchlight on the corner of the triangle. They bought the searchlight. When they lit it, when they used to light it, used to just, you could see it going up.
Yeah.
And that was at Raleigh and...
No, this was the
Down to
searchlight.
Raleigh,
The
Raleigh.
searchlights are looking for by our house, looking for the
Just one
flame.
down
But they
there.
only come once. They never stopped in the same place twice.
No.
So
because of
they
the
couldn't drop
bombing.
bombs on them, see.
right.
They only stopped once.
Yeah.
Then they go a different street or a different area. They only got stopped on the back of a lorry.
Oh, in our street used to be full of dogs. When they bombed Birmingham and
Because it used to find
Coventry,
the Austin.
the dogs used to run. And they'd be by the triangle, and they all the dogs. Frightened. They'd run till they couldn't run anymore.
Oh.
But the government used to give them
Gives so
two
much.
pigs.
Yeah.
So much.
They'd
to
rear
keep
one for the government and one
the
for
other
themselves.
And
The
they used
government
to
would
make
fetch
can you remember them making chitlins? You get
Oh, I've seen Granny Bloom.
right on the pat. They used to put them on a tap and they planted it
Broomstead, turned them inside out.
around here. Oh, they used to have customers who'd come in. And they provide us with. We never, honestly, I don't think we suffered at all for want of food or anything.
We were never hungry.
No,
never.
because you got
was-
to.
The difference is though now, it was good food. And I
Yeah.
think, and personally, this is me, I think why people of our sort of age and that are doing so well,
We lived on lazy rabbits.
yeah, we lived
Oh,
on
I love
rabbits.
rabbits, I love
Red rabbits.
Remember Mr. He was my granddad's mate, another one of my granddad's mate. He used to go off on a weekend rabbit, and you always used to bring us a couple of rabbits back.
We got a greenhouse full.
We
Yeah.
got a shed full.
But he used to go down, well, I don't know whether he used to.
We had a boiled, roasted.
But
all
we
that.
got, that, I'll tell you what sort that was, if you like. How about that? There was Flemish giants.
Yes.
That was a grey one, or
Yeah, big grey rabbit.
Yeah.
And I remember they'd killing one, and where their shelter was,
Yeah.
there was a door made into it, and it hung from the top and it touched the floor.
Really? They were that
It was
big.
massive.